we are carefully taught to ignore is that every one of us, fundamentally, deep inside, let's put it that way, is an act of, a function of, a performance of, a manifestation of the works. The whole blinking cosmos, with all its galaxies, and forever and ever and ever, whatever it is beyond that, what you might call God in the Western tradition, or Brahman in Hindu philosophy, or Tao in Chinese. Every one of us is really that, but we are pretending we aren't.
Good evening. I wanted to talk to you about something that has come up today during the course of conversations with some friends of mine. And I think it's really important for you to understand this, because it was important for me to understand. So whenever we're going through these transitions, whenever we're coming to terms with who we truly are, whenever we're fleeing from the sin in our life, so to speak, sin, karma, whatever you want to call it, it's important to understand that confessing it, that speaking it, brings out these elements from your life. Now, you've heard me say numerous times that the enemy takes what is the Father's and corrupts it. Absolutely. Every single time. And so what you see in the traditional church today with the Roman Catholics is they have these confessionals. But see, you confess these to these men, and then these men forgive your sins and say, go say a few Hail Marys, and this is the corruption. Because the reality of it is this, that as you're going through these things, I've seen it in my emails, that is truly remarkable, that I get all of these confessions. Now, I don't frown upon those confessions, and many times I don't even have the opportunity to respond to them. The important thing is that you're speaking them, that you're bringing them out. Because here's the crux of what I'm saying. That we deny, just like that an addict sits in complete ignorance and denial, right? They completely deny their situation. Well, we deny. We have spent an entire lifetime. Understand this. You, me, we have all spent an entire lifetime making excuses and justifications for the things that we've done against other people. The things that we've done against ourselves even. So this entire lifetime that we've spent, we are covering those pieces up. We have justified how we've acted towards our parents or what we did with our kids, and the crazy part is that in many cases we've actually used the scriptures and this wrathful, vengeful God to justify our actions. Because why not? The wrathful, vengeful God is how I feel. I'm pissed off. I don't like anybody. I'm angry, and they've done me wrong. Well, we've turned these things around. It's important for you to understand that it doesn't matter whether somebody else did you wrong. If you reacted to that being done wrong, and you've done that person wrong, that is your karma. That is your sin. That is your debt. That is your debt that you need to flee from. So when I've spoken of in past videos about taking the backpack, the things that weigh you down, all of these things, all of this sin, and throwing it over the cliff, you don't get to take some certain things out that have become crutches in your life. This is the most dangerous thing that you can do. Even the things that you think that you've done good, you need to put in that backpack. You're not starting from scratch and holding things that you think you've also done good with. Because the reality is, if they truly are good, just like the truth, it will return to you. But if it had somehow been manipulated within your mind, within your spirit, those truths the things that you've done, that you might have manipulated within your own mind, within your own spirit, that they were good, they will not return to you unless they were good. Unless they were truly good. Because we have taken so many things in our lives and used them as excuses to continue the activity that we do daily. So, becoming the monk to yourself, and that's essentially what I'm speaking of here. Becoming the monk is being able to flee from everything and then allow the things to come back and analyze them again. Free of all of the manipulation, free of the enemy. You get to analyze them and look at the attributes of them. So the confessing of sins that was taken from the church is a requirement, but not to the church. The church isn't the authority on you being forgiven from those. You're the authority on forgiveness. The Christ within you is the authority. You're confessing them with your mouth so you can hear yourself say them. If you don't confess these things with your mouth out loud, then you haven't come to terms with them. Because they got there through a spell, through black magic, through you convincing yourselves that it was good, or that it was them, that other person, that did you wrong and you were justified in your actions. There's no such thing as justification for an action that does harm against somebody else. No such thing. It doesn't matter whether they did you wrong. You've heard the saying, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Well, that's a saying because it's true. Whatever you've done to somebody, you need to confess that. And if you truly want the other person to have healing as well, and if you truly want to have healing, go to that person and confess it to them. I don't care how old it is. I don't care whether you haven't spoken to them in years. It is so critically important for you to verbalize these things. Get them out. The weight that will be lifted off of you is staggering. You have no idea how heavy these things are. Because what has taken place is we spend our lives running around like little demons, managing our lies, managing our manipulations. Once we lie, now you got to manage that lie. Once you've tried to convince these people over here or that person over there of this perception of you, that you were right in the situation, now you have to manage that. Lies need constant propping up. They need constant effort to make sure that they're there and sustained. One of the greatest people in my life told me, always tell the truth, Derek. It's easier to remember. There has never been a truer statement. It's easier to remember, and it doesn't carry the burden and the weight of maintaining and managing that and the perception of your righteousness within it. True freedom, true salvation is fleeing from all of those. And the difficult part of this is that we've spent our entire lives being so busy maintaining and managing these lies and perceptions, that when you no longer have them, you really have nothing to do except live in peace. And when you recognize that, at first it's troubling because you have nothing to do. You have nothing to worry about. And many people go back into the world because they feel like they're doing nothing. That gives you an idea of the depth of the sickness that we have in this world. It's okay to do nothing. In fact, it is beautiful. Do nothing. If you want to become everything, you first have to learn how to become nothing. Because the perceptions of this world and what we build up in our minds and our persona and who we convince we are to other people, managing that is a nightmare. So I just wanted to give you this quick message today because I sense that there are a lot of people going through this right now. As you may have seen with Steve Olson's channel, The Magnetosphere, there's some remarkable things going on. So I would encourage you to go to Steve's channel and watch what's taking place with the Eye of Ra and the magnetosphere. Because all of these signs are spoken of in ancient times. And clearly, if these signs were spoken of in ancient times, then they knew how to see the magnetosphere. So all of these things, I apologize that it might seem that I'm being lighthearted about it, but I'm actually loving the fact that the true history is being revealed by the things that we're seeing, that we now have to look at the ancients and understand that these people were far more technologically advanced than anybody understands. Just because you can't find their microwaves and their computers, recognize this, that none of the stuff that is around you, none of this stuff, not this desk, this computer, not these plastics, they've convinced you that plastics that it'll take them 40 million years to break down. That is a complete and utter lie. The elements of this world, throw a piece of plastic out in the desert and I can tell you that thing will be dust within 5 years. I've watched things, particularly metals, everything of metals, disintegrates. When it actually doesn't have attention, the crazy part about the power that we have, our attention, our need, our energy actually keeps things together. Doesn't necessarily have to be maintained. But you can see that things begin to break down. Skip ahead 15,000 years from now, I promise you, not a thing that is in my presence right here will be here. Not a thing. You won't find any of it. So when I'm speaking about these things, and we're talking about the ancients and what they said and what they spoke of and what they're seeing in the signs, know this, that they knew exactly what was coming. They've experienced this before. So many people would see this as prophecy that we're reading, but it's really just a reflection and a warning of what they've already seen. I love you very much, and I hope this message helps those that it's intended to get to today. I have more. I'm going to be doing a podcast on Blog Talk Radio this Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Blog Talk Radio /Global Witness. And I'll probably bring on a couple guests. But this show is primarily going to be focused on you and your questions. So it'll be 2 full hours of bringing people in with the questions. And questions that I get in comments quite often. So if you have these questions that you put in comments and they haven't been answered, join that show, blogtalkradio.com/Global Witness. That'll be Wednesday at 6 p.m. I'll leave a link in the description box below. I love you very much. I also encourage you to go to the testimonial channel at Sovereign Witness. I'll see you soon.